it's not your perfection, but it's his perfection. And you are enough because he's enough. And it's not where like we're relying on our sufficiency, but Christ's sufficiency.
He came up to me and was like, I could really feel the Lord speaking to you through the way that you're drumming. And you might not even necessarily think about this, but the way that you're drumming is actually leading people into worship.
And when we put our focus and our attention on him, we actually realize that he's with us and that his spirit is indwelling in us. And it's like, then we are like, oh yeah, God is still moving. He's still sovereign. He's still on the throne, and his spirit is actually alive in me. And there's a sense of peace that comes. There's a sense of joy that comes with that.
I was praying and my guitar strap just decided to not work. And my whole guitar fell down, reverb, or like it was just ringing out. I was in the middle of saying, dear God.
Oh, dear God.
And everyone was kind of like laughing or whatever, and I just picked it up, put the strap on, and just continued praying. And I was like, well, yeah, that was awkward, and I'm just gonna keep going.
Like, we can look back in history and see that he's done miracles. We can see it in the present. We always have to encourage and welcome people in warmly, but also just encourage them to look up no matter what, no matter the week they had, whether they've been a Christian for all their life, or whether they're, maybe like a prodigal spirit, or they've just never known church or Jesus in their life before. Always come in with the intention of leading people always to look up.
Just remembering that worship is not a genre of music, but it's really a surrendered life to Jesus. It's the song that your life sings to Jesus, and not just the music style, and it's not just the lyrics. Hey everybody, welcome to the Second Scoop. If you're hungry for more of what God is doing, you've found the right place. I'm Trevor, I'm your host, and today, Trevor, our music director, is joining us at Anchor, and Greg Trifonovitch, one of our worship leader extraordinaires, been a part of the church forever. And today, the topic is worship, all things worship. And so we're just going to dive right in. And I want to ask, maybe tell us about yourself, Trevor, and your journey and where you find yourself here as our music director at Anchor.
I grew up here at the church ever since I was about 3 years old. So at this point, it's about 24 years, which feels weird to say. But it's been a journey ever since. Fell in love with music here. Just kind of looking at like our youth teams at the time and like our worship teams. Like Trevor was our worship leader at one point, and he was someone I always looked up to. And then eventually I, accepted Jesus into my own heart around 6th grade. And then got really interested in leading worship. And then that just kind of kept developing. And then I wanted to go to college for it and kind of get a degree in it. So then I went to college and then came back, started working here in 2020. So we're about 5 years in. Yep.
That's awesome.
Cool.
What about you, Greg?
So funny enough, I actually got dedicated back when it was at Ben Parker.
Wow.
And so...
OG.
Yep. I was a
OG.
little toddler. But funny enough, we moved to Germany for about 5 years. So when we left, we were at Ben Parker. Then when we came back, we're up here on the mountain.
Wow.
So when I came back, it was the 3rd grade room was what's now the 5th and 6th grade room. And so it's pretty cool. The journey's been long. And about my relationship with Christ, my parents have been going to church forever, and it wasn't until like middle school where I made it my own and decided like I wanted to follow Christ for myself. And then it went from my parents driving me up to church to I had to go get my license to drive myself up because I was pretty much living here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
I remember seeing I don't know if it's on my Instagram or it's just an old photo that I have, but I have a photo of you in my parents' house. We had like a music room and you were like just jamming away, but you're like super, super young. It was probably like high school, junior high days.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've been with us for a while. So today we're just going to talk story. We're going to peel back the curtain, peel back the onion of worship at Anchor, and we're going to laugh a little bit, but we're just going to dive a little bit deeper into worship here at Anchor, and I think it's going to be fun.
Can't wait.
So was there a moment where you knew God was calling you to music? I know you said a little bit of your journey, but I want to hear maybe both your journeys where you felt like, hey, God is gifting me, or he's calling me into worship. I'm going to learn how to play guitar. I'm going to learn how to sing, and I want to serve in this area. When was that, and how did that happen?
Yeah. Who wants to go first? You want to go?
For me, it was like at our church camps.
Which one? Because we had like so many different locations for the camps.
It was at
The Timberline, or was it at
Mokuleia?
Yeah, Mokuleia.
For me, it was a lot of Mokuleia, and I don't know if it was a specific one, but there were a couple of them where I was an attendee,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, oh, that is so cool. Like all these kids my age were worshiping God with their hearts like fully present, and then, but I was really shy. I didn't really want to like I'm the guy. I want to take the mantle. I want to do that. It was more of a, that's really cool, but I don't know how I'll fit in. Maybe I can help with the lyrics. Maybe I can be an acoustic too in the background. But more and more, God was like pushing me to the front. And if you ask my family, like they know that I don't want to be in the front. And so it was kind of like that journey to like step into what I felt like I was called to do. And yeah, eventually camps moving forward, I was starting to lead camps, and just being on the other side and seeing like people crying or just people like really into the words that we're singing really challenged my faith. And I was like, whoa, this is like way more important than anything I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
And that was kind of where I took it more seriously, and I was like, wow, I have to.
Yeah, you're seeing people impacted by God and the Spirit of God, and
exactly.
And it's like just realizing that it's beyond
right
what you're actually doing skill wise, but like God is moving in people's hearts and minds.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then actually, I would say similar for me. I mean, obviously, I mean, yeah, youth camps were a big one, but yeah, and then I would say it was around the time I started doing like weekend services and stuff like that, like in our main sanctuary. Because at the time I was really just playing music and really just, I loved to worship, like even outside of just like playing an instrument. So I'd say I remember Auntie Ludi Landeza, Pastor Tom's mom, came up to me after a service and was like encouraging me and stuff. But then something that she said really stuck out to me as far as like, oh yeah, this is the reason why we do this, is like she came out to me and was like, I could really feel the Lord speaking to you through the way that you're drumming. And you might not even necessarily think about this, but the way that you're drumming is actually leading people into worship. You might not necessarily be the one singing the lyrics or, being the person, quote unquote, like, verbally leading, but the way you're leading by example is just as impactful. And it was ever since then that I was like, I had never really thought about it that way. And I always looked at it in that perspective of like, oh wow, like, I might be thinking that I'm just doing something small, like just strumming on a song, but when I'm just worshiping just to worship, I might be actually like almost leading someone in. And so into the presence of God, and they're seeing God through the way I worship. And so ever since then, it was kind of like, oh yeah, this is the reason what I do. And then when I went to college, like learning essentially like the scriptural basis behind that, but then also like, experiencing like other musicians in other churches like outside of ours and hearing their philosophy on just like, hey, every time you hit the drums, like you're going to war for people. And I was like, that stuff like that had just always stuck out to me, and that the heart and the intention behind just worship, no matter the position you're in, you have to always think of like you're leading from the position that you're either playing or singing.
Right.
So good.
Yeah. That's so good. And I think, like we were talking about it this weekend at church, where Paul's writing to the believers in Colossae in chapter 3, and he says, teach and admonish each other with all the wisdom that the Lord gives, but also sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs to one another.
Yeah.
And then he said, he kind of closes it with like, whatever you do in word or deed, do it in the name of our Lord and Master Jesus Christ. Like, so just going back to what you're talking about, like it's every note that you hit on the guitar. It's every, every time you strike the drum, every word, every deed, like all that is worship unto the Lord.
Yeah.
And when we're singing to each other, we're actually singing scripture, right? Like psalms and hymns, like theology of God, literally words from the Bible, words from songs. That's that's encouraging people. And so that's so awesome to hear that you like kind of caught that at such a young age.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, so it was around that time that like Auntie Ludi had said that to me, that like essentially the mustard seed had been planted, and then at college it really, I guess, sprouted, I would say, into like the deeper knowledge as far as like, why do you do what you do?
Yeah.
What is the purpose of you choosing like a song for a set list, or what is the decision of you doing a certain musical dynamic? And then that was around the time of like that I truly was like, oh yeah, maybe this is my calling and to do what I do now. And like feeling that like God's using my gift for something, like Greg said, like God's moving in people, and we might not even necessarily know specifically what, but we have the faith to know that God's moving in our midst, even when we don't see it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and I think my story is kind of similar to your guys' story. Like I didn't really grow up musical. I think my earliest memory of playing music was at my cousin's house in California, and they had a guitar, and I had the pick, and I would just like scrape it against the strings. That was like that was the closest that I got to playing music. And growing up, I was in the Honolulu Boy Choir for a little bit, like for a really hot second. I was there, but other than that, not much. And like my mom was really into like all these rock and roll bands from back in the day.
Yeah.
And until I started coming to church. And actually when I got saved at a Harvest Crusade in Aloha Stadium with Greg Laurie, and heard this message about Jesus, who loves and accepts me as I am, and he's calling me to live for him. And they played this song, Come Just As You Are. And I don't know what, like I've listened to music my whole life, but there was something about this song that just hit different, and it just drew me in. And I walked down all these steps to the floor of the stadium and gave my life to Christ. And every time, and then we got plugged into Hope Chapel, and I joined a small group in junior high. And every time we did worship, there was something about it that just just moved my spirit in a different way. And I ended up eventually learning how to play guitar, and I learned from one of the youth leaders, and it was just like, it was horrible.
Oh,
Yep.
I don't know if you guys remember when you first started learning how to play your instrument.
I was gonna say, as we all kind of start,
it's a humbling, reminder.
I try not to remember.
I couldn't play and sing at the same time. Like I was just like, there was no timing there. Even now, like most people don't know this, but I'm not really good with timing, and I can't clap and sing for like complicated lyrics.
Wait,
and
really?
Yeah, I can't do it. I don't know why. So sometimes I'll just like,
I didn't even know that about you. What the heck?
I'll stop clapping and just sing, or I'll just clap if I don't know the song. And then I'll get the hang of it, and I'll start engaging with it. But that was the start. And I think when I got called to do to step into whatever God had for that season of my life in worship ministry was when I found out that Hillsong wasn't really just a band, but they were a church. And they weren't just a church, they had a college. And I remember telling my mom, like, hey, I really feel like God's calling me into, I want to be the worship pastor of Hope Chapel one day. And she's like, okay, I see you're really committed to this. You spend so much time at the church. You spend so much dedication in your instrument and all this, and I support you. but you need to go take your youth pastor to scout out the college first, and then we'll make a decision. We support you. We're like 80% there, but you got to go see if this is a good fit first. And so we go up there, me and Pastor Carl Moore, and we attend this thing called the United Night, where it's junior high, high school, and college age all together in a room worshiping. And it's everything like back when before it was YouTube and stuff, there was like DVDs, right?
Yeah.
You get the CD
that's right.
and the DVD set of everything. And I had all these DVDs from Hillsong, and it's everything that I saw on the DVD. It was like, there's so much life. There's all this production that went into it, which is cool, but I know that's not what worship's really about. But as a young kid, I was like, this is awesome. And then we're worshiping, and they're singing new songs that aren't even on the album yet. And I'm just thinking, how cool is this?
Right.
Like, we're here. and I remember we're in the back of the room worshiping, and I get this mental image, this impression that of our current sanctuary, the tent, and the tent is full of people, and every hand is raised, and everybody's worshiping the name of Jesus. And I hear God kind of say to my heart, like, you have everything you need to make a difference right now, so go make a difference. Right. And I was like, wait, really, God? Like, I've been wanting this moment. This is what I want. This is what you wanted, right, God? This is what you want from me, right? You want me to be here at Hillsong in Australia, right? And I'm gonna, this is what I thought I wanted. And he's like, nope, you're gonna go back and you're gonna go be the difference. And so that kind of set off a bunch of years just learning under certain worship pastors, multiple worship pastors, and just being the difference wherever I could be used by God. And I think that really, like, just stepping into what God has for you, whatever you do in word or deed, that's worship unto the Lord. And so I got involved in stage design, video production, a bunch of stuff. And when I see you guys and the way that you kind of stepped into ministry and what you do now, like, it's more than just singing on stage. It's more than just playing drums behind a cage, but it's like, I see the conversations you're having with people. I see the conversations you're having with the next generation, and the way that you put your hand to whatever God has, like, I think that's powerful. And that's worship unto the Lord,
Right. Yeah, no, that's good.
So I know I did a lot of talking in that moment, but
hey.
How do you guys prepare, as we move into the weekends, and when you're put on roster, how do you prepare for the weekend? How do you prepare your heart for the weekend as you enter into leading people into worship?
Good question.
Go.
Oh, you want me to go? Okay. Yeah. I'd say for me, when it comes to just preparing for the week, basically, we've tried to develop a rhythm more so of like sending schedules like a month in advance. That way it gives our team enough time to like check schedules, but we're also like planning our sets out and putting the songs in there and making sure we're trying to resource our team as best as possible in preparation. But for me, I'm just listening to the songs back in front and like just going over specific parts that I know for sure, just so that I'm taking the week to prepare on the musical side. That way, when it comes to service, and even in our sound check too, that I'm just focused on the spiritual side and praying, okay, God, I know these songs and I know the chords, and I'm confident that the lyrics will show, even if brain farts will happen. But it's like, I know these words in my heart. I've prepared. So just come and have your way. And then having like that space to just focus on, okay, like I'm just in the zone. We're leading a room, or if I'm drumming or music directing or something like that, I'm helping support the worship leader, so that I can help fulfill their vision that they have, like as far as how they want to speak to the room and whatnot. So that's kind of what the preparation side looks like. I do get really specific for me, because I think it's because I grew up kind of just like, hey, like you gotta know the specific parts, play it like a lot like the album. And some worship pastors or leaders are different. Like I've worked with some that are like do it completely different, and I was like, okay. And then but for me personally, I'm definitely the learn the how it's done on the record first, and then you can add some spin to it once
Yeah.
you kind of
Once you learn the recipe, you
yeah
can kind of give your own flair to it.
yeah, great analogy. Or even like, yeah, you got to know like exactly where the roadmap is, and then like if you want to make like a pit stop along the way for like, I don't know, like a vending machine snack or something, then that's when you can do that. So
Well, it's also important for the congregation to know too. So when you're introducing the song, you want it to be done regular, and then like say a worship night comes up or something, and you want to spruce it up, or maybe we've done the song like 2 or 3 weekends in a row. The third weekend is okay. How can we like make it a little bit different so it's still like attractive,
Yeah.
So like for me in the prep, like I'll put a playlist together on Apple Music and I'll just run it through constantly on repeat all day, every day. Or like, and then um I'll be like trying to tune into like in the in between moments, like the transitions of songs.
yeah.
Like, okay, so if we're gonna be coming from this song, how are we gonna transition it to the next one just to like make it smooth? Or if it's like for one of the worship nights, this past one, we did "Oh Praise the Name" as a second song. So it's like just coming in with a little bit more energy, just so that it's like not okay. We just did this huge thing, a huge moment happened. Now it's just piano. Just how do we keep the energy moving? And so it's just small things like that that kind of might get overlooked, but it's like important to kind of capture. And then just praying over the set, what is God really trying to say, and maybe there's like vocal parts or like when the music happens, um, and we have time to have a verbal. It's I'm prayed over. I kind of know what I want to say. I kind of know the time allotted to say it. There's like maybe 10 seconds.
I was just about to ask, like, how do you, as a worship leader, think about preparing for like verbals? Because you also mentioned like the in between spots. So, do you think about like verbal cues and like maybe like if it's like a blurb or something like that?
Mm, I kind of like if it's for a verse, I'll like think of like the first couple lines to say. But if it's like an encouragement, like that's kind of prayed over too.
Mm,
You
that's
know,
good.
it's intentional. I think everything in that like 15 minutes or 30 minutes, however much time we have, it's intentional time to kind of just um really align people with God.
Yeah.
And that's the whole focus of
Yep.
what it's all about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
That's good. And I think, like in terms of like verbals wasn't even a thing until like
Recent.
when was it?
Well,
Like 2003 or
I,
something
I,
like
I
that.
was gonna say it's probably around the time that Hillsong United was probably becoming like a really big thing, right?
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I don't even know where I first heard it from, but like that whole aspect of instead of just singing, you're leading the congregation verbally, and you're
Mhm.
kind of like saying these things, and I've seen it done really well in leading the church, because the whole point of worship is to get the church to sing to
Mhm.
God, right? It's
Yeah.
us giving God glory and worship and worth,
Correct.
not and the awesome byproduct of that. And I think this is where like the psalmist, I think it's David saying, "Oh, come, let us magnify the Lord together.
Yeah.
Let us exalt His name."
Mhm.
Like when we magnify the Lord, whatever we're going through seems less because we realize that God is bigger.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's a natural byproduct, right? And
Mhm.
when we put our focus and our attention on Him, we actually realize that He's with us, and that his spirit is indwelling in us. And it's like, then we are like, oh yeah, God is still moving. He's still sovereign. He's still
Right.
on the
Yeah.
throne, and his spirit is actually alive in me. And there's a sense of peace that comes. There's a sense of joy that comes with that.
Mhm.
But it's like more removing the distractions and focusing on him.
Right.
But so when we do that, when we say like, oh my gosh, like remember, look to him, remember, like he's the one that deserves all the glory. Like
Mhm.
those kind of verbals work so well.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
where it kind of can turn in a little bit south is when the worship leader confuses his role with becoming like preaching a sermon.
Yeah.
Like, that's a different element of the service where the pastor is prepared for that. But
Mhm.
our job as worship leaders is to direct praise up.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that I believe also comes with like setting the tone for the room and just like welcoming people
Yeah.
into a zone. And like, yeah, like you said, when you're thinking about verbals, like you want to like think up. So like if you know, hey, we're
Yep.
about to go into a chorus and it's a really, really powerful chorus. Like I always think of like What a Beautiful Name, for example. Like it almost kind of acts like a question in a sense. Like, isn't God beautiful? Like,
Mhm.
isn't he wonderful? Isn't he powerful? And it's like thinking up, and it's like even like thinking like as far as like engagement goes, it's not even necessarily like a hype thing per se,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but it's
No.
more so just like reading your congregation and being like, okay, like what can I do to help encourage people looking up? So maybe even it's like encouraging people, come on, if you feel comfortable, we're going to lift our hands and we're going to declare this out because this is the truth.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
And
so good.
yeah.
I mean, I think that's so important to have that awareness. And this goes back to what you said about being prepared
Mhm.
Yeah.
musically, being prepared practically, because that frees up your mind and your heart to discern
Exactly.
where people are at and,
Yeah.
and actually pastor them through and lead them through that moment. And when I say lead them through, like you can look at the congregation and be like, maybe the Holy Spirit will give you a sense that there's people that are stuck in a moment. So a U2 song. Stuck in a moment, maybe during the week where things were not good, and they're
Right.
Yeah.
replaying things over, and you can sense this discouragement in the room, and you look at that and you can be like, hey, we're gonna sing "Come On My Soul." Like
Right.
some of you here might be like just like downtrodden, you might be discouraged right now, but we're gonna tell our soul to praise the Lord. And so
Mhm.
that just speaks to that moment. But if you're focused on your music and
Right.
you're focused on the lyrics and you're so like fixated on making sure you hit all the right notes and you're singing all the right lyrics, then you're not going to be aware of the
Mhm.
need in the room,
Yeah.
and you're not going to be hands free. You're going to be like two
Right.
hands on.
When actually Greg could probably attest to that, attest to this, I should say. But oftentimes when I'm music directing and I'm like trying to like kind of read the room, but I'm also trying to like encourage the team. One thing I always keep saying is like, let's keep our eyes up.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That's so good.
Because yeah, like oftentimes, and we understand too, like with worship teams and stuff, like sometimes weeks get really busy, families
Yeah.
are a thing, work stuff becomes like a thing, all these other things like come into play in our preparation zone. But then ultimately our job is like a team, whether you're the worship leader, you're playing keys, or like you're playing bass, like, or no matter the position that you're in, we have to keep our eyes up, not only from like a practical sense, like you said, like where sometimes maybe the Holy Spirit's moving, and I know we don't necessarily do as many like spontaneous moments like with our worship, but like sometimes if the leader's like feeling something, like we have to keep our eyes up in case something happens.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, but also like we want to support the moments, and how can we
Mhm.
really do that when we maybe have like our face down to the ground? Not saying that's like entirely like a bad thing, by the way, because I also believe like that personal moments can happen during worship, and I want the Lord to always be speaking to us then. But then like if we are in like a leading zone, like having our eyes up is so important.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think like, so what kind of ground beef makes an awesome hamburger?
Ooh.
It's the 80-20, right? You want the 80-20 chuck.
I was
And-
about to say Chuck.
Yeah. Chuck, but like you got the right amount of fat in there to like
Mhm.
to keep it
yeah.
moist. And so I think about like what makes a great hamburger, but also makes a great awareness in leading worship. It's the 80-20 rule. Like
Right.
80% of the time, keep your eyes open
Right.
and make sure you're looking out, that you're engaging people visually. And then the 20% of the time, like you have a personal worship moment. But if your whole thing, you're just closing your eyes, people that are
Right.
coming into the room for the first time, maybe even first time to church, are like, oh, this seems like a kind of an awkward moment. It just seems a little too like
Personal.
I'm not invited into this.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to invite people into the celebration that we're having together as God's people. And so I always think just 80-20, you know,
Mhm.
80% of the time, keep your eyes open, 20%, you
Right.
can keep them closed.
And if I can add to that as well, I mean, just like, I think I had also heard somebody like the first time, like when I went to college in Phoenix, and there was a church that I attended where the director, the creative director, was just kind of like, hey, like think about it this way. This could be someone's first time,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know their journey at all. You might not know the person. You might not know the name. This could be their 500th time to church. This could be their very first time to church. We want people to experience God the same way, and we need to come in with the expectation that God is always going to do something powerful. Like we can look back in history and see that He's done miracles. We can see it in the present. So we always have to encourage and welcome people in warmly, but also just encourage them to look up no matter what, no matter the week they had, whether they've been a Christian for all their life, or whether they're, maybe like a prodigal spirit, or they've just never known church or Jesus in their life before.
Yeah.
It's like always come in with the intention of like, leading people always to look up.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That kind of goes into like even what we talked about again, Colossians 3. Paul's
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
look up to heaven where Jesus is, and that's where your real life is. It's hidden with Christ. And
Mhm.
so it's like,
Oh,
keep your eyes fixed on eternity and the reality of heaven.
That's good.
So why do you believe worship is such a vital part of the church gathering? Maybe just real quickly, Greg, if you want to speak
Yeah.
to that.
Well, it's like what we were talking about. It's pointing up, and people are coming in with hurts, with baggage, and with life, work, everything, and like we oftentimes say that the worship leader is the first person that they see, but really it's the greeters, the parking lot crew, and then it's us if they're paying attention, and but really for us to keep our eyes open and see what is happening in the congregation, like maybe they look like they had a rough week, like how am I going to speak into that as a worship leader, like how am I going to encourage
Mm-hmm.
someone who oftentimes, hey, maybe they come often and they don't look the same. They look like they had like a rough week,
That's good.
or oh, that face looks unfamiliar. Who's that? I wonder who that is. But they're like, oh, like they're jamming. It's like, oh, cool. They're into it. At least they're into it. And so a lot of it is just pointing to God, and just kind of paying attention to what's happening in the room, and like you said, what's happening spiritually too.
It's good. So what I heard you say was when people come into church, sometimes they're discouraged or down,
Mhm.
but it's important for us to have worship in a service because that actually gives them courage. It encourages them in the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's something so powerful too about like people just coming together and saying, God, you are holy, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're powerful, you're a miracle worker. Like singing lyrics like that, like all together in like a room is just so powerful too.
Yeah.
But then it
Awesome.
sets
Yeah.
up the pastor. you know, because really they're coming for a word from God, you know. So we're setting the platform for the pastor to come up, deliver a message that hopefully speaks to them further, and then the ultimate goal is that they give their life to Christ.
Yep.
The ultimate goal is like when you start seeing or hearing, oh, I see you, I see you, I see, you know, like they're dedicating their life to Christ.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a win.
Yeah, that they experience Jesus as well, like in each and every element of the worship experience, the sermon, like anything. Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think for some people listening, they're like, they might be thinking, is that all it's about? You know, just salvations, people coming to Christ. And it's like, no, it's not. But I mean, that's a huge part of it. Like when people give their lives to the Lord and surrender to Jesus, it's a celebration moment. But
Right.
there's different maturity levels all throughout the church. And our goal is that everyone would look more like Jesus when they leave the room. It's not like just a show. It's not a song and a dance. And, you know, you're not here to get entertained. We're not here to give a TED talk. We're here to really, honestly worship the Lord with all of our hearts through music, right? Through lyrics, and then getting into the word and having the word transform us, and then respond to the Lord in a way that's like, God, I want to give you excellence, and I want you to have my whole heart. And so good. So
It's good.
Maybe some funny things.
Oh boy, here we go.
What was the funniest or craziest moment during a service or like a worship night or maybe even a camp?
Ooh.
I have too many examples.
yeah. It's like a Rolodex. Or do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So there was one time I was outside in the courtyard, and before I don't know if I missed the pastor saying, "Can the worship team come up?" But all of a sudden I just hear the music start playing, and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds like the last song." Oh my goodness, that is the last song, and I'm not even up there, and I'm leading it.
Oh, wait.
So what happened?
What happened? The band just
I think your brother Tyler was on team with us at that time, and he was just like, "Oh, you guys just left me abandoned," and I guess he let it. When we ran up on stage, I put my guitar on and sang, but yeah, it was just very chaotic, and learned my lesson. Never did it again. Never again.
That was the moment when you were suspended from the worship team.
One of many.
For 3 months.
Oh man.
Season of restoration for you, Greg.
Yep.
Actually, I think you might have been at this. This is like probably like my number one like funny story. It was when we both were doing youth.
I think I know
at the moment. Yeah,
say.
And basically we all went out to lunch because our youth services used to be at Sunday night at the time.
Agu.
And so yeah, we went to Agu Ramen, which is over by like St. Louis, and you know at the time they were really known for like these like 5 levels of spiciness from like 1 to 5.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And
that.
none of us in like our friend group had really gone past like
3.
level 3. And so I was like, I like spice. Like, let me try level 4. And then like I was doing good. You know, I was sweating. It was a hot day. It was in the summer. And why we were eating ramen that day. Like, looking back, I'm like ramen. It was not a good ramen day weather-wise.
Any day is a good ramen day.
Yeah, I mean, actually though, yeah,
that's the truth.
Can't complain.
Any day is okay.
Yeah. So basically though, ate it. You know, we were doing good. And then you know we get to rehearsal. We're doing the thing, and then like throughout the day, like our team was like, "Hey, are you doing okay? By the way, I know you ate like the spicy." I'm like, "I'm doing good, fam." And then all of a sudden, like, you know,
all of a sudden you weren't doing so.
Yeah, no, all of a sudden, like in the set, like we're doing our third song, which is I Surrender at the time. I just feel everything calm down as I'm drumming. I'm like, oh shoot, this is not
wind.
like a rushing wind. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's not a good instrument for you to have that sort of problem either.
Yeah.
No.
But it's funny because like, yeah, we reach the end of the song where the drums come down and it ends like pretty like at like a softer note. So I looked to Greg, who was leading at the time, and I looked at Paco, and both of them knew this. And then I just mouthed, I gotta go. and they
He was
both were
gone.
like, they both just nodded, and I was like,
Level
okay,
4.
this is the time. So then
your
I
post.
yeah, and it was during like a prayer moment. So Greg was like closing out the youth set, and I'm just like on the side while like all these heads are bowed down and just like running off on the side like all the way to the bathroom. And oh my gosh, it was that forever is like one of my more like hilarious
made it.
stories.
Yeah.
I
But
did
it's
make
funny.
it though, which was good. So
That is a good thing. I
but-
mean, even if you, I mean, man, I can't
Yeah.
imagine what would have happened.
yeah.
The other,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, thankfully, yeah,
The
none of the
alternative
other
is not a good-
yeah, none of the other scenarios played out, which is great. So, but yeah, no, that's definitely probably my funniest worship-related story, I would say.
That's awesome. So when I was leading youth, there was this time where we had someone in our youth group that they would kind of just do crazy stuff once in a while, and we were leading worship, and I had my eyes open, right, 80-20,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I see something on the corner of my eye, and that youth student came up, and he was just like kind of dancing on the stage, got behind me, started dancing, and then this was back when we didn't actually have the speakers flying. We had these wooden pillars
Oh yeah,
that we had
that's right.
constructed, and that's what these huge EAW speakers were on. Probably wasn't the smartest thing for us to have that, but they were on these like wooden columns in the auditorium, and the kid had some issues mentally, but he ended up getting in the closet on the stage of, like, if you're looking at the stage, it's on the right,
Oh,
climbed
wow.
up, went behind the speakers and kicked the speaker loose, and the whole thing fell down like these.
Oh,
The speakers are probably like, I don't know, like
heavy.
100 pounds,
I was
something like
gonna
that,
say, and if it's falling,
falling down, right?
Oh,
And
gosh.
back
Man.
then we had so many youth students in the
Yeah.
auditorium too. There was probably like 200 kids in the room, and
Yeah, that's
we just kept
nuts.
playing worship. Like, we didn't stop.
You just kept continuing.
We
on.
just kept continuing on. There was no
The
stopping
show
the train.
goes on.
Oh wow.
And then some youth leaders got involved and ended up taking the kid outside and talking to him and stuff. And people got away from the speaker area, but we just kept going. I thought that was so crazy.
Wow.
A similar-ish story to that, if I can share a second one. I was at a youth camp, and at the time I was playing an electric guitar, and I was praying, and my guitar strap just decided to not work, and my whole guitar fell down.
Oh wow.
Reverb, or like it was just ringing out, and I was just like, I was in the middle of saying, "Dear God,"
Oh dear God.
and everyone was kind of like laughing or whatever, and I just picked it up, put the strap on, and just continued praying. And I was like, well, yeah, that was awkward, and I'm just gonna keep going. But that, I invested in strap locks after that.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Strap locks.
Strap locks, everybody. That's very important
Very,
for your
very
guitar.
important.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
What excites you guys about where worship is headed at Anchor?
Mm.
Like, when you think about worship and when you think about our team, like what is like exciting for you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say for me personally, I mean, just seeing like, I think we're at a really cool place as far as like the people that we have on team, and just like their hearts are just willing to grow. And so we've been in like kind of a season of growing, and we've been praying and believing for it. So it's just like, and we're seeing like a really cool drive to want to get better as well, which is like amazing. So that's been the part for me, like just seeing our team recently and just seeing the growth, even with like our systems and structure, like the way we're trying to like develop our team and resource our team too. There's been
Mhm.
like a lot of thought and care put into it. So, and just seeing those being put in place has been really, really encouraging for me, and also a growth point for me as well, because I'm not always the most like organized, not always the most organized person every once in a while, and sometimes things can get jumbled up. But just having um like a team and system in place to where we can develop our team properly and resource and just have that time for people that just grow in their individual giftings has been really, really cool for me, especially in this year in particular.
Yeah.
That's great.
And on that note, I mean, like it's I've kind of had like a vision or like an idea of just because we have the unique um experience of having military on our teams.
Mm-hmm.
So they PC us in,
We're
they
grateful.
PC us out. Yeah. And it's when they leave, it's like, oh my gosh, we're a little bit shorthanded a little bit. And but the way that I think of it is we're kind of like a pit stop. Like we're able to give them or help develop new leaders and stuff like that and um resource them um and help and they help us too. Like it's a even fair share thing. But yeah, I think the development is actually where I think it's where we're headed. And
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So equipping and allowing them to use their giftings and develop them so that they
Yeah.
can go be a blessing at another
Right.
church somewhere else, wherever
Mhm.
they end up landing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not just them, it's like the youth kids that are coming up too. It's really encouraging to see like like youth kids starting to come up and it's like, oh, I see myself in them. Where it's like we started like that. We got to give them the grace and the you know space to make some mistakes
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But hey, they're growing.
Yeah.
And it's
And
really
I hope that
encouraging.
never stops. Like, I hope we keep on investing in the next generation
Mm-hmm.
because we've
Yeah.
seen it. Like, at one point, I was like a young junior high kid that someone took a risk on
Right.
to lead junior high worship. And then I ended up becoming like the worship pastor of the church one day. And
Mhm.
you guys were like junior high kids and you got brought up like that. And now we see like, Aiden
Right.
and
Yeah.
Kate and
It's super
and Kaysen.
encouraging.
and they're like main members of the team and they're still in high school. And that's
Yeah.
just beautiful to see, like just investing into, the next generation in that
And-
way.
And you see their heart and you see that they take the time to practice and like their development is getting better. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I gotta go practice too.
I was gonna say the drive has been from those two in particular too has been like really, really encouraging for me to see, just because I can further challenge them with like all these like things that I never even had when I was their age. Heck, the fact that they're even playing to like click already, like at the age they are, is like I keep even telling them to and trying to encourage them like, not a lot of people like your guys' age that's like starting out with music even knows how to do this, like
Yeah.
on a practical sense.
There's a lot of adults
But then
that can't do that.
yeah, but then
It's true.
it's been cool seeing like the spiritual side of them like develop as well.
Yeah.
To where I definitely know like for sure they're being poured into and they're spiritually becoming more mature every day, and they're thinking about things that I can definitely say when I was their age, like I might not have necessarily always been thinking that way when it comes to the spiritual side. So seeing that's been really encouraging as well, just because like I'd love to know that they're thinking about this kind of thing when it comes to using their gifts, and then yeah, allowing the space and pace for them to make mistakes and grow from them, but also like allow them the space to be creative with their gifts as well, and be like, okay, let's try something, and then if we fall down the stairs a couple times, it's okay. We'll get back up and we'll get down the stairs smoothly.
Hey man, if you're not falling down the stairs, are you even really trying?
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
you should be
Yeah.
falling down the stairs.
Are you even moving up the stairs?
Yeah, you gotta try.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll end with this. A couple quick lightning round, just like quick answer questions.
Sure.
What is your favorite worship song to play right now?
Ooh. Do you have one?
I have a favorite worship song that I'm listening to.
Yeah, what is it?
Is that it's called Doorkeeper by Commons. And I love the visual of it. Like a doorkeeper is like somebody who like he's like a bouncer, you know. And so the bridge of it is I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Lord than anywhere else. I'd rather be in the courts of my God. And like the way that I think of it is like the security at a concert. They're at the concert, but they're facing the other way.
Mm.
But they're still experiencing the concert,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And that's kind of like I might not be Moses, I might not be Abraham, and I might not be, you know, but if I'm in the courts of God, if I'm in the room, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's
Cool.
Yeah.
the song I'm
Awesome.
listening to.
Actually, you should probably check out Commons, Trev. It's Ben Fielding and Reuben Morgan.
Oh wait, no,
And-
yeah, I have heard their stuff.
Yeah, so they're like a duo now, essentially.
I dig
which
it.
is pretty cool, yeah. And yeah, they just released a live album from Manila that's super sick.
A lot of old songs. God is able.
Yeah, God is able. Ranging from like 90s Hillsong to like even like 2018
Praise
kind
Him
of stuff.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Wow. What about you, Trev?
Yeah, sorry, repeat the question again. Like,
What's your favorite worship song to play right now?
Ooh, there's quite a few, but
Choose one.
I definitely would probably say a new song we just introduced, "Washed" by Elevation Rhythm. Super cool. It's basically like a celebratory song about just like, you know, we've been made new in Jesus Christ. That should be a reason to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
Like I once was lost, but now I'm found, and it's all because of the blood of Christ. Like that's just something so awesome about it. I definitely, the type of worship songs that I love are just like ones that are like just so celebratory because like we are made free, and there's just something so awesome about it. And the other one that I always love doing is Nothing Else by Cody Carnes. Because that song is on the opposite end where it's definitely more so like every time like I worship that song, it's a good like, let's take it back to the beginning. Just kneeling before God and saying like, I'm sorry for, you know, everything that I might have made life out to be or worship out to be. Like, take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And the cry of my heart is, nothing else will do. I just want you. And that's the other side of it where, Nothing Else is always a song that takes me back to the beginning. And every time we do it, there's always something so powerful that happens in the room. But then for me personally, God's speaking something new like every time. So yeah, probably those two songs, I would say.
Awesome. So I know that there's a group chat in the worship team for the weekend. What's the most used emoji that you see flying out in the text on a Sunday morning or Friday night?
The airplane.
The airplane?
Emoji.
Oh yeah,
landing the plane.
I was gonna
Landing the
say,
plane.
have we told you about the airplane emojis?
Yeah, I mean, when I was on worship team still. That was one that I saw quite a bit.
Yeah,
Especially
We'll
because
just
Pastor
start
Rob
sending
says, "I'm going to
gifts.
land this plane."
yeah. I was gonna say, for those of you who might not know, our lead pastor, Pastor Rob, one of his like signs that we know is like he's reaching the end is he'll always say, "As I land this plane," or "I'm landing the plane right now." And so our worship team group chat always will just send airplane emojis when we're reaching towards the end, which is fun. I always also send the shaka emoji. I definitely send that one all the time.
That's good.
Yeah.
So if you could give, like real quickly, like 30 seconds,
Mhm.
any encouragement to the congregation regarding worship, what would it be?
Or do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, if you got something prepared, go ahead. But I'd say which camera should I look into? This one? I don't know. But yeah, if you're listening though, or if you're watching this podcast, first of all, hello. And secondly, just come as you are. God doesn't want you, or God doesn't require you to be perfect when you walk into a church. And he doesn't even necessarily require you to be broken. He doesn't really require you to be anything other than just, hey, I just want you to open up your heart and seek me. And so if I can encourage you, just come as you are and just open up your heart and just don't be afraid. Just to lift your hands, give everything to God, surrender it to him, and just seek him above all else. And then also, if you happen to play any instruments or if you sing, and are somewhat interested in maybe being a part of our worship team, we would absolutely love to have you. And so just come find one of us during a weekend service, and we'd be happy to help see what that next step could be.
I think an encouragement I have is just you are enough. You know,
That's good.
there's always like when I started off leading in high school, it's like, oh, who am I to be leading for seniors? Who am I? You know, what are they, or what are they going to get from me? Or, you know, as an adult, it's like, oh, these guys are all married, they have kids. What do I have? You're enough. God has you in this season for a reason, and to just step out in faith, trust that He is got your back. He had your back all this time, and just one foot in front of the other. Keep going.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think just to piggyback off of what both you guys said, if I was to encourage the same person that they both encouraged, that you don't have to be perfect because you can rely on the perfect one, which is Jesus.
That's good.
Amen.
Like, it's not your perfection, but it's his perfection. And you are enough because he's enough.
Mm-hmm.
No,
And it's not we're relying on our sufficiency, but Christ's sufficiency.
no.
And just my closing thought for those of you that are listening, and for all of us, just remembering that worship is not a genre of music, but it's really a surrendered life to Jesus. It's the song that your life sings to Jesus, and not just the music style, and it's not just the lyrics, but it's a surrendered heart to the Lord. So wherever you're listening in, whatever you're facing, whatever you're dealing with, just trust and know that God is still in control. He's on the throne, that he's Lord over all, and that you can trust and you can rest in his proficiency, that Christ has finished the work, that he's done it on the cross. Your debt is nailed to the cross. And because of that, we're free to sing, we're free to live, and we're free to serve him. So I'd love to pray for all of our listeners listening in, and then we'll sign off. But Lord, thank you so much for this time where we get to just hang out, talk, and discuss worship, Lord, and in form of song and music to you. And thank you so much for Trevor and Greg and what you're doing through their lives and their skill set here at Anchor Church. And Lord, we pray for all those that are listening in that maybe are dealing with some heavy circumstances in their life where they feel weighed down. God, would they never forget, and may you remind them to look up, Jesus.
Yes.
And to magnify you, God. As we magnify your name and the reality of heaven and the reality of who you are, God, would you just flood them with your spirit? Would you encourage them? Would you strip off any weight of sin that may be holding them down? And God, as we sing and as we live, God, may you be glorified in everything that we say in word or in deed. In the name of you, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well, thanks for joining us. And hey, if you're hungry for just a little bit more of what God is doing here at Anchor Church, you can always join us at the table for that second scoop. See you next time.